Okay, so now let's talk about the multiplicative property of inequality. So basically, we have a couple things we have to note here for this. This is a lot like the multiplicative property of equality, which we've already discussed, except there's kind of one key difference here, and that is now we're dealing with equality or inequalities here. Okay. So the first little rule we have here says when multiplying or dividing both sides of an inequality by a positive number, the inequality sign is going to stay the same. Okay, so let's say we start with something obvious. Okay, we have 2 is less than 5. Okay, so that is true. 2 is less than 5. So if we were to multiply both sides of this by a positive number, let's say, let's multiply the left-hand side by 3. And obviously, if we're going to keep this the same, let's multiply the right-hand side by 3. That's going to give us, we're going to have 6 is less than 15, which here, this is also true. So we're fine here. We can, if we multiply both sides by a positive number, we don't have to do anything to the equality sign. That is always going to be the case, okay? The other little rule we have says when multiplying or dividing both sides of an inequality by a negative number, we need to flip the inequality sign. So let's see why this works. All right, so let's say we have, let's try the same numbers, we'll make them negative. We have negative 2. In this case, it's going to be strictly greater than negative 5. Okay, let's do the same thing. Let's multiply the left-hand side by negative 3 and the right-hand side by negative 3. Okay, so we're multiplying these by a negative number. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have, in this case, 6, negative 3 times negative 2 is going to give us 6, positive 6. Those negative signs cancel out. And then on the right-hand side here, we're going to have positive 15 because, again, those negative signs canceled out. So if we don't change the inequality sign, we're going to have a statement that says 6 is greater than 15. This is obviously not true. So we need to rewrite this. We need to flip the equality sign so that inequality signs. We have 6 is less than 15. So we get the true statement. So anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality sign. Okay, so let's look at a few examples here. So let's look at, we want to solve this inequality. 8 is strictly greater than 2u. So when we're dealing with these inequalities, we want to treat this a lot like an equation, meaning our goal here is usually just to isolate this variable, in this case u, all by itself. So here, all we have to do is divide both sides by 2. And since we're dividing by a positive number, we don't have to change anything about our inequality sign. So here, the 2's are going to cancel, and we are left with 8 over 2 is strictly greater than u. And 8 over 2 is 8 divided by 2, which is 4. So we have 4 is greater than u. Okay, let's look at this one. Here we have negative 10 is greater than or equal to u divided by 5. Okay, so here we can multiply the right-hand side of the equation by 5. All right, and this is going to give us, I think this is supposed to be negative. Let's make this negative here just to make it more fun, right? Negative 10 is greater than or equal to negative u over 5. Okay, so let's, so we want to isolate u all by itself here. So we can either do this in one step or we can do it in 2 steps, okay? If we want to do, we'll do it in 2 steps for simplicity. So let's see if we can get rid of this 5 here. So let's multiply both sides of the equation by 5, okay? And that's going to leave us with negative 50 is greater than or equal to negative u, because these 5's are going to cancel here, okay? Well, we do have to somehow get rid of this negative sign. We haven't totally isolated it yet. So let's go ahead and divide both sides of this equation by negative 1. But now because we've divided both sides by negative 1, well, that's good. These are going to cancel. And hey, so are these. But we do have to flip this inequality sign because we divided by a negative number. So we're going to have u is less than or equal to positive 50. Okay, here we have 3y is strictly less than negative 15. All right, and here all we have to do is divide both sides by 3. Okay, and since we divided by a positive number, all we have to do is cancel these, and we don't have to do anything to the inequality sign. So we have y is less than negative 15 over 3, which gives us y is less than negative 5.